Ladies and gentlemen, so welcome. I'm so excited. And I'm really excited. I got my mom over here, and she's going to do a testimonial later on. But we're here today because someone thinks enough about you to invite you to see something that's changed their life. It's changed my life already, too. And I must say that there's two things that are extremely important. And the first one is health. We have seen many people pass away in recent months, and it's based on the immune system being challenged. So we have to address that issue. Another thing is wealth. A lot of people not getting the income that they had just a few months ago that might not have been enough to even get to the end of the week, or I should say week to week you was working. So that's a sad situation there too. So I got together with a team by the grace of God that are very, very sharp. And I'm excited because usually, it's not easy to become successful without having help. Teamwork makes the dream work. And I believe that most people, since they don't have a team, they live a dream called a nightmare. And this is a nightmare what's happening right now. But I believe the best is yet to come. And that being the case, just a few weeks ago, I had an opportunity to meet some incredible people. And one in particular happens to be here. He's going to be sharing some wonderful information that has me so excited. Anyway.
You just can't hide it.
Even my mom's really happy. So the bottom line is that Willie Morris knows exactly what it is to be successful in this industry. Him and his wife, Degna, have done it. They've earned 7 figures with a company that was not easy to do. And I'm just going to put a hold on that right now because the fact of the matter is that he's the person that knows even more than I do. And I'm going to pass the mic over to him. And whatever questions he has afterwards, we shall answer them. Take it away, Willie.
Awesome. Thank you, Jerry. Really excited to be here as well. And I appreciate you. I want to give it right back to you. It's been an absolute honor in a very short period of time. We've connected really well. We have a lot of core philosophies that align, and I'm just looking forward to seeing the impact that you're going to make in other people's lives because you appreciate the value of what we're going to show people here today, and the impact that it's gonna make in world health. And also in world wealth, for those that are interested as well. So I'm going to jump right into it. Listen, I'm originally from New York, and I'm going to give you the short version. I think it's really important before I dive into this. Originally from New York, I've never been to high school. I don't have an extensive educational background. I actually wound up by luck of a draw, God sent. I was actually given an opportunity to be a project manager at Grand Central Terminal. And that opportunity was an opportunity for me to really, work and make an impact in life. And it was a great opportunity. Big responsibility, Grand Central Terminal. And I did really well. I made really good money. Some of the things that I implemented there 19 years ago, they still implement in Grand Central Terminal today. 250,000 people on a daily basis go through that terminal. So, managing that facility wasn't easy, but it was a great experience and I learned a lot. And then I went over to the Museum of Modern Art. I was promoted, and I started to feel that glass ceiling in the corporate America, and started to feel the restrictions. And I had to be somewhere at a certain time. I had to be hungry at a certain time. I was only allowed to make a certain amount of money, regardless of how hard I worked, and I could only spend so much vacation time. And you guys know the drill, And my bosses could kind of tell I wasn't such a happy participant anymore with that environment. And I was sent not a replacement, an assistant to help me out. And that assistant, I didn't know, was my boss's godson. And he actually wound up replacing me shortly after, And then I was offered an opportunity to work at Rockefeller Center as a project manager, bigger money, bigger title, the whole 9 yards. And my wife and I made a decision that day, that we wouldn't take that job and that we would go into business for ourselves 16 years ago, And my wife stayed with her corporate job, and my job was to build a business that could actually replace her six-figure income as well as mine and build a business from home and raise a family. And I'm proud to say within 6 years, I was building businesses and I was doing really well, making enough money to replace my income. But by the 6th year, I was actually able to replace my wife's 6-figure income, bring her home It's one of the things that I'm really proud about, most proud about. And so she could become a full-time mother to our children. And we both, at that point is when we started generating 7-figure income from home. And our why today, is to help more people improve their health, but also improve their wealth for those that are interested. So we're going to go through some information relatively quickly. If I would encourage you to eliminate all distractions that you possibly can. Jerry, if you could tell me that you can see my screen, that would be greatly appreciated. I believe you can, but if you could give me a little.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. So the first question is, what do you know about telomeres, right? We're going to jump right into this. What do you know about telomeres? First of all, 99.9% of the people on the planet don't know anything about telomeres. And any of them that do, they don't know how valuable they are to our overall health, including doctors. And mainly, I believe, is because they don't really have a solution for it. So why focus on something and publicly announce it if you don't have a solution? Well, telomeres are the tips of every single cell, every single chromosome in our bodies, right, in our cells, and they hold the DNA together. They're the tips, like a shoelace, like the tip of a shoelace holding it together, right? And when it begins to unravel, the DNA starts to separate. Now, if you thought of it like a computer, just think about a computer's memory separating. And if the computer's memory is separating, it starts to malfunction. Well, the same thing starts to happen when telomeres shorten, okay? And experts are saying when telomeres shorten, bad things happen. They are saying that every single degenerative disease is correlated with the shortening of the telomeres. Okay, it makes the body vulnerable. Just like in a computer, they start to separate, the cells start to separate. We say when there's a virus and it's attacking the computer, it's not functioning appropriately. When it gets too bad, we say the computer crashes. Well, in humanity terms, if a cell dies, we call that senescence of the cell. That's death of the cell. And it can't serve the body. Okay? So it malfunctions. So it makes the body vulnerable. So every single degenerative disease, whether it's, skin, with the lungs, with any kind of, different kind of diseases, whatever it is, right? You name it. ALS, Parkinson's disease, just go down all the list. They're all associated with lengthening of the telomeres. And so what's happening is, or shortening of the telomeres, what's happening is that, Bill Andrews, who you're going to hear about, the geneticist, he realized that, shortening of the telomeres was natural to happen because of certain conditions, but he was wondering why they weren't naturally healing themselves. And he began to discover that we're being inundated with chemicals, in today's world, whether it's in the air, water, but mostly in food and even in the pharmaceuticals as well, chemical based. And it's causing accelerated shortening of the cells, of the telomeres. Okay. And now today in our society, like I was told when I just hit 50 a year and a half ago, that it's all downhill. Right. And I'll make another example. If you're talking to somebody and you ask them how old they are, let's say the person says they're 40. And in your mind, you're like, damn, you look old for 40, right? That has everything to do with the length of their telomeres. And if somebody's older and they look younger, that also has to do with the length of their telomeres. So there are ways that you can slow down the shortening of the telomeres, but this discovery has actually proven to reverse the length of the telomeres, okay? But what's really heart-wrenching is that in today's world, because of all the chemicals, they're actually finding babies in the womb with telomeres already shortening, which shouldn't be, right? And even kids and teenagers and all these illnesses that now children have that only used to happen for older adults, right? As the body broke down in older age and it made it more vulnerable. But it's happening to kids, okay? And so along comes Bill Andrews, and he identifies an enzyme called telomerase, all right? So you just learned about telomeres, and you're learning about telomerase. In 1994, a 13-page article was written in Popular magazine, longest article ever written in that magazine. He was known as the man that would stop time. Okay, and so he was asked, and he had said, that he was going to cure aging, in a public place. He said that to a group of people. They said, "You're gonna cure aging," he said, "or die trying." Okay, and so he identified in a petri dish that with activating that enzyme in a human cell in a petri dish, he activated the enzyme, and he found that the telomeres could be lengthened based on how much he can activate that enzyme. He shared his research with Harvard University that he could lengthen the telomeres. And they took that information and they theorized, right? Bill Andrews and with Harvard University, that a gentleman that may have gotten elderly and his telomeres were shortened, or at any age, if they lengthened the telomeres, what would happen to this elderly gentleman that was already keeled over? His body would course correct itself. It would go back to a younger version somewhere in his mid-20s. And if you think that's science fiction, just keep in mind that they also gave a Nobel Prize to that finding. So it's not, this is no hype at all. In fact, I'd like to show you that on ABC News, Diane Sawyer also, brought it onto the news. It should be.
And now eternal youth. Is it in a cage around the corner? News tonight of a breakthrough for some pioneering mice. But we always wonder, what does a fountain of youth for rodents reveal for humans? Here's Sharon Alfonsi reporting.
I feel tremendous.
In the movie Cocoon, it's a swimming pool that turns back the clock for a group of senior citizens. But now researchers have found a way not just to stop, but reverse the aging process. The key is something called a telomere. We all have them. They're the tips or caps of your chromosomes, seen here in yellow. This is what it looks like in a young adult. But as you grow older, the telomeres become damaged and frayed, and as they stop working, we start aging, experiencing things like hearing and memory loss. Scientists took mice who were prematurely aged, added an enzyme, and essentially turned their telomeres back on. You can see it before the enzyme, after.
Their brain function improved, their fertility was restored. It was a remarkable reversal of the aging process.
Look at this picture. The mouse on the right has bad skin, gray hair, and is balding, but the one on the left had its telomeres flipped back on.
And you could see that essentially you now have a dark coat color, that the hair is restored, that the coat has a nice healthy sheen to it.
Even more dramatic, the change in brain size. This is before. The mice had 75% of a normal brain, like a patient with severe Alzheimer's. But after the telomeres were reactivated, the brain returns to normal size.
You know anybody that needs a return of their size of their brain or a bigger brain? Okay. So in 2009, Bill Andrews, with this finding of telomerase, okay, and with the finding of Harvard University and the Nobel Prize, he went to work. He got a bunch of investors. They raised about $30 million, 40 scientists. They created 304,000 compounds. Okay. Those red lines measure the strength of the enzyme. They call it a hit. Okay. But the only problem with their findings were that they were all toxic. Okay. And so they couldn't give it to human beings. But in 2009, Bill Andrews was introduced to John Anderson, who's actually the founder of Isogenics. He's a world-renowned formulator, nutritionalist. He's worked for hundreds of companies like GNC, Joe Weider, Nature Sunshine, the list goes on and on. He's formulated thousands of supplements, botanical based, all kinds of stuff, natural stuff. And so when he found out about this, he didn't know anything about telomeres. And he said, my gosh, if I knew about this, I would have formulated for you guys much sooner. But he went to work right away. And in 2009, he sent over to Bill Andrews' lab 15 different compounds. And he got a hit. They did 304,000 compounds. They got 8 hits, and they were toxic. And he sent over 15. John Anderson, he got a hit. They said, this is the luckiest man in the world. There's no way. Who is this guy? So he said, I'm going to send over 15 more. He sends over 15 more. He gets another hit. They realize he's not lucky. The man is an absolute genius, as well as Bill Andrews is. All right. These guys dedicate their lives to what they do, to impact world health of humanity. Okay, that's what their mission is. And so he sends over cumulatively 120 compounds. Okay, he gets another 4 hits, a total of 7 hits all together. And as if that's not, profound enough, the miracle was that they were all natural. And they were just blown away. Bill Andrews was absolute. And then John Anderson did something that Bill Andrews thought was impossible to do. And he found 2 more hits that were off the charts. And they both knew that this was going to impact the landscape of world health drastically. We are now on what we call the 4th generation of isogenesis. They are still, John Anderson still sending compounds over to Bill Andrews' lab, okay? And they are currently working on the 5th generation, which they say is gonna drastically impact world health, okay? So let me just go through a few testimonies really quickly. No hype, we're not making any claims to cure anything or illnesses or anything like that. We're just gonna share with you some of the results that people have gotten. Okay, this is Bill Andrews, the geneticist, product of the product. He's a runner, he's a jogger. If you Google him, you'll see. And he ran this marathon called the Ultra High. He's the oldest person to complete this 60-hour, 138-mile at 18,000 feet high in the Himalayas. He did it in 50 hours and 51 minutes. This man can't wait until he's 70 years old so he can crush the 70-year-old record. Okay. His wife also did this marathon and was never able to get it done within 60 hours. In fact, no woman had ever done it before. But after she started consuming this product, she met him at the top in less than 60 hours. Amazing. Okay. In fact, our mentor, Mr. Dave MacArthur, at age 46, consuming this product after a couple of years, I think it was, started feeling younger, stronger. His body had, evolved and all this stuff. And he said, I always wanted to motocross. And he said, you know what the heck? I feel up to it. Let's do it. 46, got on the motorcycle, started racing with teenagers, started beating teenagers. He was having the time of his life. But like things happen, with athletes, or any sports, he had an accident. But not just any accident, it shattered his leg. Like glass, they said it shattered. Only 6 doctors in the country could work on his leg. Luckily for him, one of them was in the state of Utah, where he resides. They told him at the age of 46, with this fracture, you won't be able to stand on your own 2 feet in 12 months. You won't be able to stand on your feet. You're going to have to ride this out. Within a matter of weeks, Dave MacArthur was running stadiums. And his physical therapist said, Dave, it doesn't even look like that, like you had that fracture. The body had the capacity to heal itself under the right conditions. Isogenesis is an all-natural herbal supplement, okay? And it activates the enzyme for the telomeres, for healing, okay? So Amy Sauter, she heard this presentation just like you're hearing it. Actually, she was at a dentist's office. She couldn't stop thinking about her father-in-law. Immediately, she put her father-in-law on this product. He was 81 at the time, and he was living on his own. He had tubes everywhere. They knew they would either have to take him into their home or put him into a nursing home, and he knew it too. Within a matter of months, he started to stand on his own, function on his own, feel a lot better. A couple of years later, about 2 or 3 years later, you can see a drastic difference. He started working out. He was independent and feeling, you could see he's vibrant. And then 87 there, transforming his life, just vibrant. And then at 89, he did something. He got on Facebook Live and he said, I'm going to do 89 push-ups on Facebook Live. Well, he didn't do 89. He did 105. And this is him here. He actually said on that Facebook Live, you know what? I think I might consider remarrying again. Just an incredible guy. I had a chance to meet him in person. This is Bob Sheridan, the only boxing announcer in the Boxing Hall of Fame, only one. He announced for all of Muhammad Ali's fights. And I believe he was in his late 70s here, 2011. And mid 70s, something like that. But he needed a heart operation. He needed an operation on his heart. But his heart wasn't strong enough to withstand the operation. The doctors literally told him, Bob, just, we're sorry, but if you do this operation, you're not going to make it. There's no way. So they sent him home. They said, you might as well make, preparations. His wife was introduced to isogenesis. Within a matter of months, he started feeling better. His heart started to get stronger. I believe at that point he was able to get the operation. His wife even dyed his hair. He's feeling great. But then at the age of 82 or 83, I think 82, he wound up getting a sports car and got pulled over going 120 miles per hour, so slow down a little bit, Bob. He actually said in an interview in the boxing arena that he feels like he could go on announcing another 20 years. It's quality of life. Like Kathy Tank says, age is just a number. She just turned 73 years old today. I think this is 62, I believe. I got to get that age right. So 62, because at 69, she actually won a bikini contest. Okay, so she went from 2012 to 2016. So she would have been 69, 2000. She would have been 65. I'm sorry. She would have been 65 in that picture. Okay, and then this is her at 70. And she just celebrated her 73rd birthday. She is a bright light in our company, for sure. Okay. Chantel, really quickly, just to give you a different perspective, she had back pain in her life, her entire life. Her father actually died from abusing pain medication because of a similar back pain. She couldn't believe when she started taking this that her back pain was relieved, and she was finally able to sleep, get full nights of sleep. Okay. Her daughter as well had a condition where in the cold, her scalp would get really raw and it was painful to comb her hair. Her condition also, she no longer suffers from that condition as a result of consuming isogenesis. And just to show you, it's not necessarily anybody that's suffering or elderly. That's Dave MacArthur's daughter. She was a dancer. She started to take isogenesis. She showed up, at her dancing classes. And the dancing instructor was like, how are you able to do that? Like she was going beyond her capacity. So for athletes, it's absolutely phenomenal. We also found out that it helps with mental clarity, right? Because if it's rejuvenating cells, it helps towards mental clarity. And our daughter, who's very creative, our 10-year-old daughter, she kind of struggled with paying attention to work. And we knew she knew the work and she could do the work, but it was just, kind of, drifting off here and there. And we started giving her, this is all natural. This is, use children friendly, no 800 number. It's all vegan. It's like a piece of broccoli, if you ask me, and we started giving it to our 10-year-old daughter. And then one day my wife and I looked over and we were like, who is this kid? Laser focused. Okay. So also it helps with trauma. If anybody, a lot of times when people have an accident or something, maybe this guy in particular, he couldn't move his right arm. And so they were kind of playing a trick on the person that introduced him to isogenesis. And so he couldn't move his right arm, but they said, he's getting a little bit better. So they show him this video.
And then check the strike. Holy moly.
Yeah.
Wow, Benny.
Look at how relaxed his arm is. Watch, just put your arm.
Nice.
What the heck?
I mean, he wasn't able to move his arm. Actually, today now he's playing the piano. So, with activating the enzyme and supporting the telomeres, he was able to, move his arm again. Just absolutely phenomenal. So what would you prefer, long telomeres or short telomeres? If you can confidently say long telomeres, more than 99.9% of the people in the planet, including medical professionals. Okay. Dave MacArthur, our mentor, educates, doctors on this discovery. And they are absolutely blown away. You can actually see a news clip and you can ask one of us, we'll send it to you. A 2-minute news clip. A doctor says 400 of his patients, the only thing he changed for them was this. And they're recovering from conditions that they came to him for. Okay. And he's not affiliated with Isagenix at all. And they mentioned it on the news. Okay. So the second part to the Forever Pack answers this question. You are what you eat. Okay. And the question is, can replacing one meal change your life? And it's a resounding yes, if it's this meal, the Forever Pack. And so we're just going to talk a little bit about, because this is not nutrition. This is not going to give you, your calories, your protein, amino acids, all of that stuff, fatty acids also. So, but this shake is a meal replacement. Okay. The same mind that made this, John Anderson, that everybody recognized as a genius. Okay. He's called the mineral man around the world. You could Google him. No problem. All right. He formulated a super organic raw food shake. It's a meal replacement. And the problem with our food is that all of us are being exposed to some degree processed food and pesticides, right? Also, some people are only eating processed food. And that's attributing to the obesity, the health crisis that we have on our hands. And the food market, the food industry knows it. And so when we eat processed food and our pH levels go below 7, we go into what's called acidosis. And when our pH levels our bodies are in acidosis state, we crave acidic food. And it impacts, compounds the problem. Okay. And there lies the problem. The food today, the produce, does not have the nutrients that it used to have, that we keep thinking that if we eat certain foods, we're going to get certain nutrients. That's no longer the case. And there's documentaries everywhere that clarify that. So you can, whether it's Fork and Knife, What the Health, Super Size Me, and the list goes on and on and on. But let me give you an example. In 1953, UCLA, did a study and found, and in 1953, we only needed one bowl of spinach to get the amount of iron for one day, right? But in 2007, they discovered how many bowls of spinach you think we would need to get the same amount of iron. 51. Who's going to eat 51 bowls? The problem is that the pesticides, the chemicals that they're spraying to supposedly preserve the food, has killed the bacteria in the soil that allows the minerals to get in the produce. I'm not saying that was their intention initially, but it's a proven fact that as the minerals went down, illnesses go up. And there's graphs all over the internet that show that those comparisons. Okay, so the food, and even organic food, is part of the problem. It's probably it is your best bet, but they still allow a certain level of pesticides to be sprayed, and they don't have the nutrients. Okay, so there lies a major problem. Okay, with one shake a day, Dr. Colgan from the Colgan Institute, who trains athletes, he said that one shake a day would boost your immune system by 500%. And in today's world, we want our immune system up and running. Okay. He also wrote a book about these shakes. It's called The New Nutrition. Okay. One shake a day, within 3 to 5 days, your alkalinity will go up. 9 times out of 10, when people say that they're tired, they're not physically tired. Their pH level is in an acidic level, and they don't have the energy to drive, to get up and go. Okay. I'm telling you, these shakes have changed our lives. Okay. And there's just a few people, just to see some images. That young kid put on muscle in a matter of months. This elderly man up in the right they stopped him from driving. He had to walk with a walker. In 30 days, he put on 14 pounds of lean muscle without working out, without changing his diet. That's what these shakes do. Okay. This lady in the bottom right lost a significant amount of weight. She lost a significant amount of weight as well. She wound up in People magazine. And then Kenya, my personal favorite, she to this day, she released about 500 pounds. Okay, this company has a in the corporate office, they have what they call the 100-pound wall of fame. And on the wall, they got, I think, like just about 1,000 people on that wall that have sent in documents. We know that there's thousands, right? But about 1,000 sent in their documentation. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 in Kenya's case. No surgeries, none of that stuff. And that's her picture on Facebook, where she posted that she was so grateful that finally she could slam the door and not be concerned about hitting herself or having to squeeze in. Okay, so we're talking about quality of life. My personal favorite story is my good brother, Guillermo Padilla, and he made it so worth it for my wife and I, because his results in a matter of months, him and his wife, and if he's on here today, you'll get to hear his personal testimony, and Jerry will probably cry for us at the end because it's such a powerful story. And there's so many Guillermos out there, like he says, and we're impacting people's lives. So it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. Okay, there's a 22-minute overview. We've pretty much went about 20 minutes or so on that information. So as far as the science is concerned, on that 22-minute video, there's no testimonies. It's just science on isogenesis and the shakes. Okay, so you can share that with anybody you like. Foreverpack.com, PAK.com. Foreverpack, it's PAK.com. Okay, but just to close this up, this is one of the most common fast foods throughout the United States. Whether it's a sandwich or whatever, it's pretty much boils down to the same thing. This food has no nutrition at all. We're the most overfed country and undernourished. It's a fact. One shake, maximum nutrition. You need about 90 nutrients in each meal. We have over 200 in one of these shakes. You have more nutrients for 2 meals in one shake. Almost 2,000 calories in just one meal. 240 calories an hour, so low calorie. Women love it. Easy to kind of release weight, with that calorie count. And then $9 just about in 2007. But today we checked it out. It's about $11. That's a supersized meal. This meal is under $3. And even when you combine it with the isogenesis, it's still under $5.50. Most people on an average save at least $100 a month. Some save 200. My wife saves about 250. She got rid of a Starbucks habit that she had. Once her pH levels, were up, she no longer craved the coffee. She didn't need it. She didn't need the fix to get through the day. Her pH levels were up. She got energy to burn, and the stories just go on and on and on when the body's functioning optimally. So again, health is a habit, okay? And simplicity has never been so profound. Really, in a nutshell, that's my presentation based on the products. But if we can show you how to eat for free, would you give me about 5 more minutes